Good morning, students. Now, from today, we will be discussing on what is known as transport in plants. Let me write it here, transport in plants. Now, what is this transport in plants? And what is transported in plants? Now, the things that are transported in plants are water, then mineral salts, food materials, and gases. Now let us briefly see what are these things. Water is a very important component of all living organisms and for plants also. Now in plants, water is present in all cells. Minerals are present in all cells. Food material are present in all cells. And gases are also present in all cells. How is that? Let's briefly see. Now water. Water, as I told you, is present in all cells. So how does this water that is present in all cells move? What is the transport? Now first of all, water enters into the plant through the roots. That is the first transport. Now then, so the first transport, whatever it is from soil to root. The second transport is cell to cell. Third transport is from tissue to tissue. Reversible means any tissue to any tissues. Now soil to what? Root, cell to cell, tissue to tissue, then plants to atmosphere. Now here I am not talking about only water, I am talking about in general. This is the transport that occurs. Now what is soil to root? What is transported? Water and minerals are moving from the root to the plant, or from the soil to the root and then to all parts of the plant. Now these water and minerals move by cell to cell transport, tissue to tissue transport, and that is the tissues are parenchyma, then xylem, phloem, all these move. Then plants to atmosphere is the movement of water, that is evaporation, by evaporation, which we call as transpiration. So soil to plant, cell to cell, tissue to tissue, then plant to atmosphere. These are the different kinds of movements. Now the movements may be unidirectional, bidirectional, or multidirectional. All kinds of movements or transports are seen, and it is either upward downward or lateral. The movement is upward, downward or lateral. Now let us review what we have discussed. The transport of different things, say water, minerals. What are minerals? Sodium, potassium, calcium, magnesium. These are minerals and others which are necessary for the plant. Where from those come? They come from the soil. So water and minerals enter into the plant through the root from the soil. Then the water and minerals move to different parts of the plant by cell to cell transport, by tissue to tissue transport. Then the water from the plant moves out into the atmosphere by evaporation. Now what about gases? Gases move into the plant through the leaf and move out of the plant through the leaves. That is, during photosynthesis, carbon dioxide is taken in, and during respiration, carbon dioxide goes out. So that is the movement of in and out movement of gases. And coming to the food materials as you know are synthesized in the leaves. Now the food that is synthesized in leaves moves to different parts of the plants, and this movement is downward, definitely from the leaf downward, and then to different parts by lateral movement. And what is the direction? The direction may be one direction, bidirection or multi directions. Different directions the transport takes place. Now we have discussed about the basic things about transport. Then we will come to what are the processes or mechanisms by which the transport takes place. One is diffusion. Second is facilitated diffusion. Third is active transport. Fourth is osmosis. And fifth is imbibition. Now the transport takes place in plants by these 5 methods: diffusion, facilitated diffusion, active transport, osmosis and the imbibition. Now coming to the point of each one of it, let us try to first deal with diffusion. I am erasing other things. Diffusion. Now let us try to understand diffusion by an experiment. Now you know this is a familiar experiment which you must have read in school and everywhere, and that is if you open a scent bottle at some place which is a small bottle, you will find that the scent moves throughout the room and you can smell it anywhere you like. So that is because of the scent movement. The scent particles or vapors move from one place to other by diffusion. Okay. Second, if you put a drop of ink in a beaker of water, you will find that the drop of ink immediately moves through the liquid. And if you put a crystal or few crystals of copper sulfate in water, the crystal dissolve and the blue color of copper sulfate is found in the entire beaker. This is because the scent vapors and the copper sulfate molecules or ions move throughout the beaker through water. So, this movement of molecules and ions, it mainly deals with molecules and ions. Sometimes we mention ions, atoms. Atoms is not essential as far physiology is concerned. Molecules and ions move from one place to another. Now, what is the first case? Scent vapor, that is a molecule, and the second is copper sulfate ions. They move to different places. And how do they move? They move from their higher concentration to their lower concentration. That is, when I dropped, suppose this is the beaker and the beaker is containing water. Here I have put crystals of copper sulfate. Now you can see here that these copper sulfate crystals move in these directions like this, and they are found in different parts. Now, why do they move? They move because the concentration of copper sulfate is more here and less in the rest of the water. They move like this. That is called diffusion of things. Now, why do these molecules or ions move? They move because every molecule or ion has something we call as diffusion pressure. That is the pressure with which the molecules move. The molecules move because of the pressure inside them. This is called diffusion pressure. The diffusion pressure is because of the kinetic energy. You know that kinetic energy is the energy for movement. Energy for movement is kinetic energy. Now, this kinetic energy we can call is the chemical potential. Now, let us put it in a perspective. A molecule is there. It has some potential, mane tara takat. It has some potential to move of its own. This potential is because of its chemical potential and because of the kinetic energy. Now, these molecules or ions move from one place to another with diffusion pressure. What is diffusion pressure? The pressure with which the diffusing molecules move. Now they move from higher diffusion pressure to lower diffusion pressure. They move from higher diffusion pressure to lower diffusion pressure. That is the movement of the molecules or ions, higher diffusion pressure to lower diffusion pressure. So, if it is from higher diffusion pressure to lower diffusion pressure, we can also say that it is from higher kinetic energy to lower kinetic energy. And the same way, normally it is said it is from higher chemical potential to lower chemical potential. Higher to lower, diffusion pressure, higher to lower chemical potential. There is a third thing by which we can explain diffusion, that is through this can be explained in three ways, higher to lower. One is dP, diffusion pressure. The second is chemical potential. And the third is free energy. Free energy is the energy that any chemical thing has to do work. So every molecule or ion which is diffusing has a chemical potential, that is, it has a free energy. So it moves from higher free energy to lower free energy. It moves from higher chemical potential to lower chemical potential. It moves from higher diffusion pressure to lower diffusion pressure. And all these things are same. All the three are same. And the latest explanation is by the free energy. We should explain diffusion. For that matter, any expression should be given by free energy. If not free energy, chemical potential. That diffusion pressure, etc., are bit old concepts, but you can express that way also. Now, what are the factors that affect diffusion? Now, you know that the chemicals, the substances, ions or molecules are moving. When they are moving, then definitely they are moving, means they have the energy. What is that energy? Free energy. What is the potential? Chemical potential. What is the pressure? Diffusion pressure. How is this diffusion affected? By temperature. If there is an increase in temperature, naturally the increase in temperature increases the energy of the diffusing molecules, that is, energy of the chemical potential of the diffusion molecules, or the diffusion pressure of the diffusing molecules, and they move faster. And the temperature decreases, then their movement decreases. So the first factor that affects diffusion is temperature. Factors affecting diffusion. Temperature is number one. Number two is density of diffusing substance. This is expressed by D is proportional to 1 by root over D, where D is diffusion and D is density of the diffusing molecule. So it is inversely proportional. That is, if density is less, diffusion is more. If the density is more, diffusion is less. That means heavy particles diffuse slowly and light particles diffuse very fast. Then next is medium. Medium. Now, for a scent molecule, that vapor that was moving, it was moving in air inside the room. For the copper sulfate crystals we have discussed, they are moving in water. So in the first case, the medium is air, and in the second case, the medium is water. Now, if the air is more dense, then diffusion will be less. And if water is more dense, how water will become dense? Suppose instead of water, pure water, we take sugar solution and in that we put copper sulfate. Then the diffusion will be less because the water is more dense because of sugar particles. Now, the fourth factor is diffusion pressure gradient. Now, what is diffusion pressure gradient? Diffusion pressure gradient is the gradient means gradual decrease or increase. We have discussed that diffusion is movement of molecules or ions from higher concentration to lower concentration. So, here we find that if the concentration is highest here, less here, and still less here, and still less there. So, this higher, more, little less, little more, less, still less. So, there is a gradient of diffusion pressure. So, the gradient must be there. Suppose here the diffusion pressure is X, here it is Y. Y is less than X, so molecules move this way. But Z is equal to Y. So, here diffusion will not take place because there is no gradient. So, gradient means gradual decrease must be there. Here the example is decrease, but some places there may be increase also, but that doesn't relate to diffusion. Coming to the importance of diffusion in plants, you must know that diffusion is a physical process, but in plants diffusion is useful or used in all activities of the plant. First, absorption of water from the soil by the root, transport of water, water is transported to different parts, absorption of minerals from the soil to the plant, diffusion, then transport of minerals, diffusion inside the plant, food material, transport of food materials for short distances within the cell or like that, it is by diffusion. Then exchange of gases, that is carbon dioxide and oxygen in and out during respiration by plants through the stomata, that is again diffusion. And transpiration is the process of diffusion of water vapors from the plant to outer side, and that is also diffusion. So, what are the importances of diffusion for the plant? Absorption of water, transport of water, absorption and transport of minerals, exchange of gases in the leaf and other parts. Then one thing you must remember here, that whatever be the type of the diffusion, in some cases, for example in solutes and food materials, the diffusion cannot account for the entire movement. It is only the basic process which is used and other factors are involved in it. Now, what is diffusion called in Odia? It is called, you think what it is called? I will get back to you later about this, or shall I tell you now? Bisarana is diffusion from one place to another. Now, coming to the next, that is facilitated diffusion. Facilitated diffusion is a diffusion. As the name itself indicates, facilitated means the diffusion which is helped by something for its activity. Now here I need to draw a diagram. Now suppose the plasma membrane is there. You know that the plasma membrane, Koshaka Jhilli, plasma membrane is made up of lipids, lipid bilayer. The plasma membrane has lipid bilayer, and in the lipid bilayer there are some structures which are called protein carriers. This is the plasma membrane and this is the protein carrier. Now the problem with plasma membrane is the lipid bilayer which is here will not allow the substances which are water loving or which are soluble in water, because lipid hates water. Lipid hates water. It is Snehasara. It hates water. These proteins form tunnels which are usually called porins. Porins. Now, not always. Simply for your understanding, I mentioned porins. Porins means pores, holes. Now, the substances which are to enter into it is outside the plasma membrane and this is inside of the plasma membrane, and these substances which are soluble in water cannot enter into the cell through the plasma membrane in general by diffusion, because this is the plasma membrane itself, which is made up of lipids, is hydrophobic, water hating. Now these proteins, these are carrier proteins. Carrier proteins form a channel. Now these carrier proteins are with side chains. Now these side chains are the places where these molecules get attached. After they get attached, these protein carriers change their shape and release them inside. They hold it for a while and release them inside by changing the shape. And here what happens? The shape of the protein is changing. Now, who provides the energy for the change of shape? None. No energy is involved. That means it is a passive process, P-A-S-S-I-V-E, passive process. Passive process. No energy. No energy means passive process. If energy is involved, it is called active process. Remember it, we will come to it later. Now, now this movement of ions is divided into uniport, that is single substance through the pores, and then symport to the same time. That means two substances, this and this, move through the pore at the same time, and antiport, same time, same direction. Antiport is opposite directions. So the movement may be in the same direction or opposite direction. Now this is about facilitated diffusion. Now we will complete first diffusion, all the diffusion three types, that is diffusion, which is also called simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion, and the other related thing is active transport. Diffusion we have completed, facilitated diffusion we have completed, then we come to active transport. Active transport is something where protein carriers are involved for the transport, like in facilitated diffusion. Here the protein carriers are like this. These are the protein carriers. These are the positive and negative ions. Now positive ions and negative ions are carried by different units. Then and a complex is formed between the protein carrier. This is outer, inner, outer, inner, and one more, outer, inner. Now these are the positive and negative ions. They are received by the carriers. The carrier ion complex is formed, and the carriers then release the ions inside. Now this is called the active transport. Here energy involved, energy of respiration is involved, or ATP is involved, and that's why it is an active process. It is an active process. So we have completed the three kinds, first three kinds. We'll make a comparison of all the three also. I will tell you briefly all the three processes in the form of a comparison before going to osmosis. Now, first is diffusion, which is also called simple diffusion. Diffusion is movement of molecules or ions from higher concentration to lower concentration, or higher chemical potential to lower chemical potential, or higher diffusion pressure to lower diffusion pressure, or higher free energy to lower free energy. Example is the perfume bottle opened in a room and it disperses throughout, and the copper sulfate crystal put in water where the molecules of copper sulfate or ions then move throughout the beaker. Now that is diffusion. Diffusion is because of diffusion pressure. Diffusion pressure is because of chemical potential. Chemical potential can also be expressed in the form of free energy. Now, diffusion is affected by temperature. Increase in temperature, more diffusion. It is affected by diffusing molecules or particles or ions and molecules. Now, if it is diffusion is equal to 1 by root over d, that is density. If density is more, diffusion is less. If density is less, diffusion is more. Density of the diffusing molecules. Then the medium, if the medium is more concentrated, diffusion will be less, and if the medium is less concentrated, then diffusion will be more. Then for diffusion there should be a gradient, diffusion gradient. That means high, medium, low. The movement from high, medium, low. But if it becomes high, medium, medium, then after medium there won't be any net movement. Let me tell one thing here. What do we mean by net medium? Net movement. Net movement, not medium, net movement. Net movement means molecules are moving this way and molecules are also moving this way in diffusion. Now more molecules are moving this way, very less number of molecules are moving this way. But there will be a stage when there will be an equilibrium. That means both ways molecules will be moving the same way. Now facilitated diffusion. In facilitated diffusion we find in plant cells only or living cells only. Facilitated diffusion is a process in which there are protein carriers in the plasma membrane. The protein carriers form channels which are sometimes called porins. Now the plasma membrane is made up of lipids, and lipids hates water. So whatever is soluble in water, the lipid will not allow to enter through. So how can they enter into the cell? They enter through the pores. How do they enter through the pores? The proteins have side chains which allow the ions or molecules to get attached, and they change their shape and release them inside. Now this is not involving any metabolic energy or ATP. So it is a passive process, no involvement of any metabolic energy. Now then active transport. Now in both active transport and facilitated diffusion, the difference is involvement of energy in active transport and no involvement of energy in the facilitated diffusion. Now let us compare the three, and the points on the basis of which we can compare. I will simply write the points and you can frame your own table. You can make a table to compare them. The points are concentration gradient, then carrier proteins, then third selectivity, fourth saturation, fifth involvement of energy, sixth what else is left out? Inhibitors. Now you make like this: diffusion, facilitated diffusion, last is the active transport. Now concentration gradient, yes, the concentration gradient, higher to lower, high to low, yes, high to low, and active transport, no, against concentration gradient. That means the movement of ions or molecules takes place even from lower concentration to higher concentration in active transport. Carrier proteins not involved? Yes, yes. Because carrier proteins are not applicable, no carrier proteins. So here selectivity yes, selectivity yes. What is selectivity? Some substances are allowed, some are not allowed. So they are very selective in allowing the substances. Suppose I will give you an example. There is calcium, potassium, magnesium and other ions. A carrier protein may allow calcium but not sodium. That is selective. It may allow sucrose but not sodium. Like this they are selective. Now saturation. Now you know, suppose there is plasma membrane and inside the plasma membrane there are carriers. These carriers are fixed number, suppose 10 carriers are there, and all the 10 carriers, whether it is not applicable, whether it is facilitated diffusion or active transport, all the 10 carriers are occupied. Occupied means the carriers are carrying substances. So no further movement takes place till the carrier is empty. That is, there is saturation effect, there is saturation effect. Involvement of energy, no, no, yes. And inhibitors, not effective, yes, yes. Any inhibitor that blocks the side chains of protein or carrier protein will affect the facilitated diffusion, and similarly any inhibitor that affects the side chain or respiration, because energy is involved there, will affect this. Then we come to osmosis. Osmosis is a special type of diffusion. Now, if you have understood diffusion, it will be very easy to understand osmosis as well. Osmosis is a special type of diffusion. What it is? Here, it involves only solvent molecules to pass through, to move. Remember, in diffusion, whether it is solvent molecules or solute molecules or gas molecules, all of them move. But here, only solvent molecules move. Now, so liquid medium is mandatory, must. In Oriya we call osmosis, that is pora sthiti. Now osmosis, the diffusion. Before going to the definition, what is necessary? Here also diffusion. What is diffusing? Liquid molecules. Now solvent molecules, we deal with only water for plants. We are considering plant movement, so water is only considered. Now liquid medium is mandatory. Now coming to the definition of osmosis, and for definition of osmosis we need to understand permeability. Impermeable, permeable. I will come to this. Impermeable, permeable. If it is permeable, it has three tiers: semi-permeable, selectively permeable. Now remember, selectively permeable doesn't come into osmosis. It is in general permeability. Permeability means we know that a cell has a membrane outside which we call as plasma membrane. The plasma membrane allows something to pass in. If it allows everything, any membrane, it is permeable. It is semi-permeable only solvent. That is, here we are considering water allowed. Only solvent is allowed. That is semi-permeable. Selectively permeable is some are allowed and others not. Not allowed. Now, selectively permeable is meant for solutes and other things, but semi-permeable is meant for osmosis. Semi-permeable means a membrane which allows some substances to pass through and doesn't allow, it allows solvent to pass through, water to pass through, but not other substances. We can demonstrate the process of osmosis with your Thistle funnel experiment, which you all know. You take a Thistle funnel Now tie this with a parchment paper or cellophane or goat bladder. Cellophane or goat bladder. Goat bladder or cellophane or parchment paper acts as semi-permeable membrane. Now you dip it in water and solution or solution. Now here you keep concentrated solution inside this Thistle funnel, and here there is a glass tube which is fixed on a stand. Now you will find, now you mark the initial level of water. You will find that water rises after some time. It is because water enters into the Thistle funnel by means of osmosis. Now this membrane is a semi-permeable membrane. Now so, unlike diffusion, in osmosis the presence of semi-permeable membrane is a must. We must have a semi-permeable membrane for osmosis. So what is osmosis? The diffusion of water molecules from higher concentration to lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. That is osmosis. This is the simplest definition of osmosis. Higher concentration of water to lower concentration of water through a semi-permeable membrane. Now, here I must tell you that what do we mean by higher concentration to lower concentration? Now here you see, here we have water, and inside the Thistle funnel we have solution, sugar solution say. Now which is more concentrated? You will say sugar solution is more concentration. No, the more concentration is concentrated is outside water. Why? We are not considering the concentration of solution, but the concentration of water, where the concentration of water is more inside pure water. But concentration of water decreases if we dissolve something in water. I will show you with an example. Say this is pure water. Say this is pure water and this is a solution. Now in pure water there are water molecules, and in solution there are water molecules. But in solution there are also sugar molecules. Now these water molecules are moving in different directions. Why? Because of their diffusion pressure or chemical potential or free energy. They are moving in different direction. Now they bombard with each other and the rate of movement is same. But in this case, the movement of water molecules is hindered or stopped by these sugar molecules. So the diffusion pressure or the chemical potential or the free energy of the water molecules decreases. So if these two are separated, this is the outside and this is the inside. If these two are separated by a semi-permeable membrane, water will move from higher concentration to lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. The movement of water from higher concentration to lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane is osmosis. Now we have discussed about the different definitions of diffusion. What did we say? diffusion is from higher concentration to lower concentration, higher diffusion pressure to lower diffusion pressure, higher chemical potential to lower chemical potential, and higher free energy to lower free energy. Can we apply the same here? Totally yes. Osmosis can be defined in different ways. One definition I have already told, and that is osmosis is movement of solvent molecules from their concentration to from their higher concentration, or water molecules from their higher concentration to the lower concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. Fine. Then second definition, osmosis is defined as the movement of water molecules from higher chemical potential to lower chemical potential through a semi-permeable membrane. Osmosis, third definition, is the process of movement of water molecules from higher diffusion pressure to lower diffusion pressure through a semi-permeable membrane. And the final, osmosis is a process of movement of water molecules from higher free energy to lower free energy through a semi-permeable membrane. So in all cases, semi-permeable membrane is there, and in diffusion, semi-permeable membrane is not there. And in osmosis, only water molecules. In diffusion, it is the movement of anything. Okay? Then there are three kinds of solution. Suppose now where we will have the highest diffusion pressure? In pure water, highest chemical potential, pure water, highest, what is that, free energy, pure water, highest concentration, pure water is the highest. Now suppose there are three solutions. This is water, this is dilute solution, this is concentrated solution, and we dip a cell in this cell. This is more concentrated, this is less concentrated. Now, here I am not mentioning less or more concentrated because it could be anything. We have just discussed that the diffusion pressure or the chemical potential or the free energy or the diffusion pressure is highest in pure water. So water will move from here to here into the cell, and this is end osmosis, that is into the cell is end osmosis. Here what will happen? It is a dilute solution, and here it is more concentrated. That means where the diffusion pressure or the chemical potential or the free energy is more outside, because this is dilute solution, and concentrated solution will have less diffusion pressure or less chemical potential or less free energy of water. So water will move in. Here there will be end osmosis. Here also there will be end osmosis. And here it is water will move out. Because inside the cell the concentration is less, that is more diffusion pressure, and outside the cell the concentration is more, that is less diffusion pressure. So water will move out. This is exosmosis. Endosmosis, endosmosis, exosmosis. What is endosmosis? Movement, and here the solution is hypotonic. Hypo means less. Here it is hypotonic. Here it is hypertonic. Thus the solutions can be hypertonic, hypotonic, or isotonic. Isotonic is same both inside the cell and the solution. Hypertonic means more than the cell. Hypotonic means less than the cell. So when a cell is immersed in a hypotonic solution, water moves into the cell and it is called endosmosis. And when the cell is immersed in a hypertonic solution, water moves out of the cell, it is called exosmosis. And when the solution concentration inside the cell and outside the cell is same, it is called isotonic solution. Now we have taken here a U-tube. In the U-tube, on this side there is water and on this side there is solution. As we have discussed, pure water has more diffusion pressure, more chemical potential, or more concentration of water, or more free energy of water than the solution. So water moves into the cell. The original level was here, and because of entry of water, this is the final level of. Let us make it similar. Original level is this. Original level was same, but here the movement makes it final level. So a pressure is developed inside this tube because of the entry of water due to osmosis, and this pressure which is developed due to osmosis, when a solution is separated from pure solvent or water, is called osmotic pressure. Now you can measure it this way. Now the levels were equal. Now you put pressure on this, weight on this to stop any upward movement. The weight that you put is actually the osmotic pressure. The pressure with which we stop the movement of water is osmotic pressure. Now osmotic pressure is a theoretical pressure, it is not practical pressure. Let me explain why I say that it is a theoretical pressure. It is a theoretical pressure because here the water molecules will move this way, but this is water and this is solution. Can at any time the solution be equal to water? No. So the maximum a pressure that can develop, underline can, that can develop in a solution due to osmosis is called osmotic pressure, or simple words I told you that it is the pressure that can develop in a solution due to osmosis, but it is theoretical pressure. Osmotic pressure is a theoretical pressure that can develop in a solution. Now osmotic pressure is a pressure unit is bar. 1 bar is equal to 0.987 atmospheres is equal to 1 lakh pascals. Pascals or mini pascals or micropascals are usually expressed. That is the modern unit of osmotic pressure, but still bar is used. Now the unit of osmotic pressure is bars. 1 bar is equal to 0.987 atmospheres or 1 lakh pascals. Now I told you that the osmotic pressure is a theoretical pressure. So what is the practical pressure? The practical pressure is the turgor pressure. Turgor pressure is the actual pressure that develops in a solution due to osmosis. Turgor pressure. Is the actual hydrostatic pressure. That develops in a solution due to osmosis is turgor pressure. Osmotic pressure is the theoretical pressure that can develop in a solution due to osmosis, and turgor pressure is the practical pressure or hydrostatic pressure that actually develops in a solution due to osmosis. So, how many we have discussed? Osmotic pressure and turgor pressure. Now, one more pressure we will discuss, that is wall pressure. Now, when water enters into a cell, this is cell, water is entering into a cell,